She has just told police about the Tacoma keys. We're picking up from there.
The keys.
Talk to us.
I know.
So how did you get the key, Michelle? To the Tacoma?
That part.
There's some pictures. Just to show a little of the work we've done. How did you get the keys to the Tacoma?
The keys of the Tacoma, they can be either. Well, the thought is going to put it in the car. Or if I took the keys, it probably was in the, I don't know, I don't know where in the car.
Alright. You ended up with the keys.
I ended up with the keys.
Just order the story also.
Somebody walks in and hands Clabby a giant binder. He shows it to Michelle and says, just to show you how much work has been done. This is a commonly used tactic, although I think it was awkwardly executed here. Anyway, if she was involved, you'd expect her to get very nervous about this. A lot of times people will stare at that binder and start sweating. But this goes right over her head. She is completely unconcerned, not even a little worried. The other thing I've noticed is that she has not been grabbing onto that water bottle, which is another thing that people do when they're nervous. She's trying to figure out how she got the keys to the Tacoma. And you can see her trying to remember. But she can't think of anything other than Fotis must have put them in the car. Were the Jeep windows open or closed? Pavel's testimony was that as he walked by the Tacoma, he noticed his key in the door of the Tacoma. I think it's weird that he wouldn't just grab the key, but people do weird things sometimes. Anyway, the reason I ask if the Jeep window was open or shut is because I'm thinking, well, maybe Fotis grabbed the key out of the door of the Tacoma and tossed it into the Jeep. I don't know. Or maybe Pavel was mistaken about which of his trips back and forth, because he was back and forth too. Maybe he's mistaken about which one of those he saw the keys in the Tacoma on. I don't know. But Michelle ended up with the keys, and she has volunteered this fact.
This is step one of how the keys came to be in her possession. I want to be clear on how that happened. So do you remember? I don't want to hear this. Do you remember how you got the keys?
No, I don't. But the keys were that I had the keys. I did have the keys. I get outside the house. I give the keys to Fotis. I think Pavel, I don't think I saw Pavel turning on the motorcycle, the Honda. And because supposedly he was going to take the Honda home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I leave because I wanted to do the rocks, but it was late and I wasn't going to make it. So I
I'm getting confused now. You get a call from Fotis and he says you took the keys to Tacoma, bring them back. Is that correct?
But I didn't bring them back. I was in the house. I said,
in the house?
I said, I come to the house, or I'm here in the house. So they
bring the keys back to Eden Springs?
No.
No?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I gave him the key in the house.
Okay.
At the yes.
She's sure she didn't return to give back the keys. That Fotis came to the house. Let's look at the prosecution's handy little timeline. The Jeep gets to Jefferson Crossing just after 5:06 p.m. All of the vehicle movement after that is Fotis and Pavel, not Michelle. The prosecutor's own evidence corroborates what Michelle is saying here. Was Pavel lying or simply mistaken? We'll probably never know. I do want to point out something that came out in cross-examination of Pavel. He said he spoke to someone at Fort Jefferson during that time, friends who were coming over for dinner. Pavel was driving the Raptor and Fotis was in the passenger seat when that happened. So they had gone back to Fort Jefferson. The Tacoma was seen in the area of Deer Cliff with the dirt bike in the back at 5:57 p.m.
I gave him the key in the house.
Right.
At Fort Jefferson. Yes. I did not go back to 80. And
So the transfer of the keys took place in Fort Jefferson, you handed them to
Fotis.
Fotis?
Yes.
Where was Pavel?
Doing something with the motor. I did not go back to 80. And
So the transfer of the keys took place in Fort Jefferson, you handed them to
Fotis.
Fotis?
Yes.
Where was Pavel?
Doing something with the motor.
Pavel was there too?
Yes.
Was there any conversation prior to your leaving 80 Mountain between Fotis and Pavel about the Tacoma staying at 80 Mountain Road?
Not that I know.
Not that you heard? Not that you're aware of?
Yeah.
Fotis didn't want him to take the Raptor for the weekend, that didn't come up, there was no discussion that you witnessed about that?
Not in front of me.
Not in front of you?
And for what I've understood, Pavel took the Tacoma, and that actually I told him how did he take the motor? How he puts the motor on top of the pickup? He says that he goes to 585 in Deer Cliff, and that he backs up in a place that there's a hill, and he puts the motorcycle on. That's what they explained me.
Jane, did Fotis ever tell you that Pavel wanted to sell the Tacoma?
Yes.
When did that take place?
I think he told me that, I think it was on Wednesday with the car wash.
Okay.
Yes, at some point he tells me, I think Pavel wants to sell his car, and he asked me to stay with the Cherokee. And I said, well, I don't care. The only thing that if I want the Cherokee for the weekends to go somewhere far, like a long trip, he said, oh no, that's not going to be a problem. So that conversation was, I believe it was on Wednesday when I went to take him to the car wash.
Do you remember the date of that Wednesday?
29.
So it's the 29th on Wednesday you took Fotis.
Michelle volunteers that she went with Fotis to the car wash. The police would not have given her this information in advance. Nobody confronted her about it. She volunteered it. Personally, I think it's really weird to take your employee's vehicle to the car wash. She's talking like this is perfectly normal. Very matter of fact about it. I have to admit that in the beginning of this, when I saw the video of her with Fotis on Albany Avenue and he's throwing out those garbage bags, I thought it was unbelievable that somebody would be doing that and not know that something's wrong. And that one's on me. I was making the mistake of looking through the lens of my life experience, not the other person's. Having heard the explanation, I now see it differently. Maybe the car wash is a similar thing and I'm being closed-minded? Maybe there's some reason? In any case, it sounds like it's Fotis wanting Michelle to take him to the car wash. If she's innocent and trusted him, she'd have no reason to put together the Tacoma and Jennifer's disappearance. And maybe this explains why she thought the police should look at the Tacoma. You know, one of those things in retrospect.
Picked me up at the car wash in the parking lot, and so I went to pick him up, and then we went to meet with Andy. So we drove in.
Okay. A little more detail, okay? Because we're really kind of jumping ahead, which I think, because there was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday are all days that have events.
I believe Pavel took the Tacoma because actually that night we were in the Raptor. And the next day, Fotis took the Suburban, supposedly to see the kids, and I had the Cherokee. And the Sunday the same. He had the Suburban because he was gonna supposedly pick up the kids in New York. And I had the Cherokee. So I believe Pavel did take the Tacoma that Friday. Okay. With the motorcycle.
Yeah. So the day of the car wash, you're home and you get a phone call from Fotis to come meet you?
Yes, he said to me, come and pick me up at wait, I drop off the car in school, I go back to the house, I get changed. And he said, he either told me I have to drop the car in the car wash, pick me up in the parking lot, which I did, I picked him up. We came here and then
Wait, just, okay,
well,
exactly what you did.
I went to pick him up, he came, I changed seats, and he drove the Yukon.
Yep.
We had the Yukon, the rental.
Now, your understanding of him taking the Tacoma to get washed was for what reason?
He told me that Pavel wanted to sell the car, and that, the whole, what I understood was the whole philosophy was that Pavel was going to stay with the Cherokee for a while until he gets a different car. And I said, I don't mind. I don't mind him staying with the Cherokee as long as if I go on a weekend somewhere, I can have the Cherokee because it's easier to drive.
And on what day was that explained to you, that Pavel was going to have the Cherokee?
Wednesday, when he went to the car wash.
So the day of the car wash.
The car wash.
Okay.
So, all right, so he calls you, says, pick me up, is that right?
Yeah, we told him, on the phone. At some point he called me like at 9:11 and I call, or vice versa, I called him at 9:11, he calls me at 9:13. But we end up on 44, there's a car wash. In that car wash, in the parking lot, I pick him up. Obviously, I changed seats. He drove to come down here.
Yeah, that's the first day you meet with Attorney Bowman.
Yes. And I don't know what time we arrived here, but.
Okay, so
And then on the way back, I received a phone call from the car wash at 1:39 saying that the car was ready. I didn't give them my phone number because I didn't go and talk to them. It was Fotis.
Yeah.
Okay. And then as driving back, I'm not 100%. We either after the meeting with Andy, we drove back to Farmington. He stops in the bank. Then I'm not sure if I picked up Nicole in the school. I don't know. This part I'm not right. And then.
Wow. Okay. This is helping to clarify some things. Fotis and Pavel had a plan. I've asked a few times how it was that Pavel got both the Jeep and the Tacoma at his house at the same time. It could be that Fotis and Pavel worked this out together and that Fotis helped Pavel get both the Jeep and the Tacoma to his house. I don't know. Pavel was in possession of the Tacoma on the Friday. Do I still think it's weird to get your employee's car washed? Yeah. In Michelle's brain, though, this is something that Pavel and Fotis worked out together, and who was she to question it? I'm not saying that it's true that Pavel agreed to this, We know Fotis was a liar, but Michelle believed it was true. And as she's trying to remember whether she picked up her daughter before or after, Kimball is shaking his head once again. I know that because this is a police interrogation, it's not so easy for her to just get up and walk out. It's dangerous to fight back. I've had people do this to me, and they last about 2 seconds, let me tell you. Where they ask a question because they're going for a gotcha, or they ask a question and they don't like the answer, so they fight back. I have no freaking patience with that nonsense. Why waste your breath when the person is invested in not hearing you?
Back to the car wash that I dropped him off to pick up the car, and then I drove back home, or I went to pick up Nicole. But I mean, the car, he washed the car. I mean.
So where were you? When did Fotis leave that morning?
What do you mean?
When did Fotis leave? He drove out of Jefferson with Tacoma, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know when he left the house that morning?
No, but I believe it was like around 9, maybe. I believe. I'm not 100%.
Where were you when he left? You still at the house?
I was in the house, but I probably went out right after him to pick up him.
When you say you probably went right after him, Michelle,
I know. I think I went after him to pick
well,
up.
after him could be a minute after him, a second after him, or an hour after him.
No, it wasn't an hour.
Okay.
It was
So
close to going after him, like immediately.
immediately after him?
Yes.
So were you following him out of the driveway? Or did you leave a few minutes after he left?
No, I think it was immediately, like right after him.
Okay, so were you following him out of the driveway? Or was it a few minutes after he left that you
No,
left?
it can be following him.
All right. And when he dropped the car off at Russell's Feeder in Avon, where were you?
In the parking lot, in the car.
You were in the parking lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he drops the car off.
Yeah.
So how do you need to have a phone call from him to come pick him up? Because you're with him, dropping off the
No,
car.
I wasn't with him. He was in another car, and I was in another.
You were in the parking lot.
We spoke, and probably we spoke about, okay, I'm gonna drop off the car, go and drive to Andy. We had 2 calls. What did we talk? I don't know, but obviously I did drop him off. I'm not saying I didn't drop him off. Not drop him. I mean, I was in the car.
You told us that he had to call you to come pick him up. So you were in the parking lot of Russell's Feeders when he's dropping off the Tacoma,
Yes.
making arrangements to have it detailed, correct?
No, I didn't say any of that. I was in the parking lot. Okay, I was in the parking lot. I never talked to the
I
car.
understand that.
Okay,
But
so,
when he goes into Russell's Feeder
yes,
to drop off the Tacoma to
yes,
get it detailed,
yes.
you were in the parking lot of Russell's Feeders.
Russell's Feeder.
Is that correct?
Yes, I was in the
Okay,
parking
so
lot.
once he leaves, he
He
drops,
Okay.
he comes out of Russell's Feeders,
He called me, where are you?
shut him up.
Okay.
He comes out of the office, he's paid for the detail. Does he get into your car?
He gets into the car, yes.
Okay. So I don't understand why he needs to call you and tell you to come pick him up.
No,
Because
maybe
he's
not
in your
picking
car.
up, maybe it's, where are you? Standing in the parking lot, or like, looking for me in the parking
So
lot.
all I know is what you're telling me, so
I
let's
know.
come and pick me up, so that's why I'm asking.
But I'm not.
Is Kimball purposely misunderstanding? Wow. She's clearly saying she went out immediately after Fotis. Video surveillance from the neighbor corroborates what she's saying. But Kimball is talking over her and demanding the answer that she just gave. Is he mad because she didn't lie? Crikey. And this stuff with the phone. Kimball's question does make sense, but so does her answer. And I know I've done exactly this kind of thing with the phone, in parking lots and on busy streets. Kimball seems invested in not understanding what she's telling him. I'd better leave it here. Watson needs the PARK, and I have a lot of editing to do. Trust your gut. I'll see you in the comments.